My crush rejected me for 10 years. Now I'm in a relationship with her best friend. Now she stalks me and wants revenge. She laughed at me when I confessed my love. 10 years later, I found real love with her best friend. But now she can't stand it. And she's trying to ruin everything. What happens when your longtime crush finally notices you? But only after you've moved on and found someone better? This is the real story of how I was rejected, humiliated, and ignored for over a decade by the girl I thought I loved. And when I finally got into a relationship with her best friend, things got scary. Obsession, jealousy, revenge. She couldn't accept it. And what she did next could have destroyed my entire life. But I didn't back down. I fought back. And now I want to tell you the whole story. Because this isn't just a love story. It's a warning. Before dive into the story, please like this video. For more videos, subscribe my channel. Thank you. It all started in 8th grade. Her name was Eliza. She wasn't just popular. She was the kind of girl that made people stop mid-sentence when she walked into a room. Long, dark hair, always styled to perfection. A smile that made your stomach do backflips. And confidence that could put grown adults to shame. She was the queen bee, and I was the invisible one. The kid with braces. The weird laugh. The hoodie pulled over his head. I wasn't even on her radar. But I saw her. Every single day. I watched the way she laughed with her friends. The way she flipped her hair when she talked. I memorized her class schedule. I knew when she'd walk past my locker. I'd even time my bathroom breaks just to get a glimpse of her in the hall. I know, creepy, right? But when you're a teenager, hopelessly in love, everything feels bigger than it is. And to me, she was everything. She was the sun, and I was a cold planet just orbiting her, waiting for a little warmth. I thought if I just waited long enough, just loved her hard enough, she'd eventually notice me. I kept that crush going all through high school. Freshman year, she started dating a senior. That guy had a car, played varsity basketball, and looked like a movie star. What chance did I have? Sophomore year, she went to prom with the football captain. She wore a red dress that was the talk of the entire school. Everyone said they looked like royalty. Junior year, I started writing anonymous notes and slipping them into her locker. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I could make her laugh or feel special, she'd fall for the mystery. I used a fancy pen and folded the notes into little origami hearts. Dumb, right? But it was all I had. She never replied. Probably laughed at them with her friends in the cafeteria. Maybe even guessed it was me. I don't know. All I know is I kept hoping. Meanwhile, I was in the shadows. I'd sit 2 rows behind her in history class. Listen to her voice during group discussions. Catch glimpses of her doodling hearts in her notebook. Every time she said something clever or funny, I'd smile. Like I was proud of her. Like I had any right to be. I even memorized the way she said her name during roll call. Eliza Bennett, she'd say with this perfect blend of confidence and sass. God, I was so far gone. But it wasn't just infatuation. Not to me. It felt like something deeper. Something real. Something that could grow, if only she'd let it. I remember this one day. It was raining. Everyone was huddled under umbrellas, but she didn't care. She walked out into the rain, hair soaking wet, arms stretched out like she was in a music video. I stood by the window, watching her. In that moment, I was convinced she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I went home that night and wrote a whole poem about her. It was terrible, rhyming Eliza with surprisa, but it came from the heart. I never showed it to anyone. But senior year, that was the year I got brave. Something about graduation looming over us made me feel like it was now or never. Like this was my last chance to shoot my shot. I started planning my big confession in December. I watched cheesy rom-coms for inspiration. I made a playlist of songs that reminded me of her. I practiced what I'd say in the mirror. I even asked my mom to drive me to the fancy flower shop across town. I wanted this to be perfect. I bought a bouquet of deep red roses, the kind that looked like they belonged in a movie. I sprayed a bit of cologne on the stems, yeah, I know, weird, and tucked the note I wrote deep into the flowers. The note wasn't just a few sentences. It was a whole letter. 2 pages, front and back. I told her how I'd admired her from afar. How I saw beauty in her laugh, in her wit, in her kindness, though looking back, I'm not sure how much of that was real versus what I projected onto her. I told her I believed in fate. That maybe, just maybe, we were meant to cross paths like this. That I knew I wasn't the obvious choice, but I had something no one else had, years of quiet love. Valentine's Day. I skipped lunch. My stomach was in knots. I stood outside her classroom like a nervous wreck. My palms were sweaty. My heart was a war drum. She came out, surrounded by her friends, laughing as always, and I stepped forward. Hey, Eliza, I like you. I think I've liked you forever. Will you go out with me? She blinked, looked at me like I was speaking another language. 2 seconds passed. Then the laugh, loud, piercing. You? Are you serious? She said, turning to her friend. Look what he brought me. Flowers. I didn't even know your name until now. The worst part? Her friends joined in. One of them actually took a picture. My heart cracked into 1,000 pieces. I just stood there, frozen, a pathetic statue holding roses no one wanted. Then I turned around and walked away, left the flowers on the floor. Didn't look back. That moment, it haunted me for years. Every time I heard someone laugh a little too loudly, I remembered it. Every time I saw someone get rejected, my stomach twisted. And I swore I would never let anyone make me feel that small again. Not her, not anyone. That day marked the death of the old me. But what I didn't know then was this. One day, she'd regret that laugh more than anything. And I'd be the reason why. After that moment in the hallway, the humiliation, the laughter, I went numb. That night, I cried harder than I ever had. I ripped the playlist off my phone, threw the rest of the stationery I used for her letters into the trash. I promised myself I'd never feel that weak again. And slowly, I started to rebuild. College was my escape. A blank slate. Nobody there knew about the hallway incident. Nobody called me Flower Boy. No one whispered about me in the hallways. I joined the gym my first semester. At first, it was awkward. I didn't know how to use half the equipment. I was all skin and bones, with no clue what a deadlift was. But the moment I felt that first ache in my muscles, I knew I was finally in control of something. I worked out daily, changed my diet. I stopped living on instant noodles and started learning how to cook real food. Read books about mental strength. Practiced eye contact in the mirror. I wanted to become a man who would never be laughed at again. And it wasn't just about looks. I started reading self-help books. Not those toxic alpha male types, but ones that talked about finding inner worth. I joined clubs, took leadership positions, forced myself into uncomfortable conversations until small talk no longer terrified me. People started noticing. By sophomore year, I wasn't invisible anymore. Girls who once looked through me started saying hi. Professors praised my ideas. One of them even encouraged me to apply for an internship at a major tech firm, and I got it. And then there was Maya. No, not Mia, not yet. Maya was a friend, just a friend. But she helped me understand something valuable, how to be around women without trying so hard. She was the first girl I could actually talk to without stuttering. She once told me, "You're gonna break hearts someday. You just don't see it yet." I laughed. Yeah, right. No, seriously, you've got the rare thing. You actually listen. You care. Give it time. And I did. I gave it time. I stayed focused, improved every area of my life. By senior year, I had a part-time business up and running, solid grades, and more confidence than I ever thought I'd have. Then one day, everything came full circle. I was at a conference in the city. Student entrepreneurs from across the country were there. It was huge, fancy hotel, name badges, networking events. And during a coffee break, I heard someone say my name. Liam? Liam Torres? I turned around. It was Eliza, and she looked stunned. Wow, you look different, she said, smiling that same bright smile she used to weaponize. Hey, I said, calm. Cool, like I hadn't memorized every inch of her face years ago. I didn't know you were into startups, she said. I'm in marketing now. I just finished an internship at a digital agency downtown. We talked, briefly. Nothing deep, nothing personal. But that night, I got a friend request on Instagram. From her. I didn't accept it. I stared at the screen for a long time, thumb hovering over the button. Part of me felt vindicated, like I had finally won. But another part of me felt nothing. Because I realized something. She didn't know me now. And she never really cared to know me then. She didn't deserve front row seats to my life anymore. So I let the request sit there, unanswered. A week later, someone else commented on my post. Proud of you, Liam. Crazy to see how far you've come. It was Mia. Mia Harper, Eliza's best friend in high school. The quieter one. The one who always carried a book. The one who smiled politely but stayed out of drama. I remembered her immediately. She remembered me too. We started messaging. Casual at first. Talking about college, career paths, old high school memories. Remember that time Mr. Langley fell asleep during his own lecture? She wrote. I imagined that. Nope, you were sitting 2 rows behind me. I remember you laughing. Quietly. That surprised me. Wait, you noticed me back then? Of course I did. You were always sketching in your notebook. I always wondered what you were drawing. We kept talking. And then came the night that changed everything. We were on a late-night video call. Nothing flirty, just chatting about our favorite movies. You've never seen Eternal Sunshine? She gasped. That's a crime. I'll watch it, but only if you watch Fight Club. Deal. And then she said it. You know, you've really grown up, in the best way. I'm glad we reconnected. Something clicked. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't butterflies. It was real. We made plans to meet up. She lived 2 states away, but I didn't care. I booked a flight. And when I saw her at the airport, hair messy, holding a hand-drawn sign that said, Mr. Eternal Sunshine, I knew. I knew this was the beginning of something different. Not forced, not fantasy, real. We spent the weekend walking trails, watching movies, cooking together. We laughed about how awkward high school was. She told me how she used to write poems no one ever saw. I told her about my failed confession to Eliza. Wait, she said, that was you? I remember that. I remember Eliza showing us the flowers. I felt so bad for whoever did that. Yeah, that was me. She looked at me, really looked. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that. And then she hugged me. That hug, it healed something. We kissed that night. Soft, hesitant, but full of meaning. And just like that, Mia and I were official. The past, it didn't matter. Or so I thought, because the past always has a way of knocking when you least expect it, especially when it's someone like Eliza. A few weeks after Mia and I made it official, I posted a picture. Just the 2 of us. Nothing dramatic, just us laughing over ice cream cones, her smearing a little on my nose while I pretended to look shocked. We had no idea what that picture would stir up. The comments were sweet at first. Cutest couple. So happy for you, Liam. But one comment stood out. From an account I didn't recognize. Did she tell you the truth yet? At first, I thought it was spam. I ignored it, but then another popped up. You don't know who she really is. I clicked the profile. No posts, 0 followers. 0 following, just the initials EB in the bio. My stomach turned. I knew exactly who that was. Eliza Bennett. The next day, I got a DM. So this is what betrayal looks like. No name, no greeting. Just that. I blocked the account. Told Mia about it. She frowned, but brushed it off. She always needed attention, she said. Let her sulk. But the messages didn't stop. New accounts, new DMs, different tactics. One account sent screenshots of Mia's old tweets from college, digging up sarcastic jokes she made years ago. Another accused her of cheating on a high school boyfriend, something she openly told me about and had nothing to hide. Eliza was playing dirty. And then she got personal. One morning, Mia called me crying. Someone just sent a letter to my work. Printed, signed anonymous. Said I'm a liar, that I'm not who I pretend to be. She had to explain to her boss that it was just high school drama catching up. Her job didn't care, but it shook her. Eliza had crossed a line. I didn't want to give Eliza any power. We blocked her, reported accounts, ignored her emails. But ignoring her didn't make her go away. One evening, Mia and I went to a small art exhibit downtown. It was quiet, romantic, and we thought we'd get a break from the noise. Halfway through the gallery, I felt someone watching us. I turned around. There she was, Eliza, standing in the corner. Dressed like she belonged there, long black coat, red lipstick, arms crossed like some kind of villain. She tilted her head, smiled, then disappeared into the crowd. I didn't tell Mia. I didn't want to ruin the night. But Eliza wasn't done. The next few weeks felt like a psychological thriller. Random calls in the middle of the night. Blocked numbers. Mia's friends getting fake messages. You should tell him the truth, Mia. He doesn't know what you did, does he? It got to a point where Mia started questioning herself. Maybe we rushed things, she said one night. Maybe we moved too fast. I knew she was scared. Not of Eliza, but of losing the peace we had found. And for the first time since high school, I felt helpless again. Like that kid with the flowers, standing in a hallway, being laughed at. Only this time, I wasn't going to walk away. I confronted Eliza. Found her at a cafe she posted on her story. Walked right up. She looked up, startled. Liam? She smiled. What a surprise. I sat across from her. You need to stop. She sipped her coffee. Stop what? The messages, the stalking, the letters, the lies. She leaned back. You think I'd waste my time on you? Cut the act. We both know it's you. She rolled her eyes. You're with her. Of course you'd blame me. I stood up. You rejected me, remember? You laughed in my face. And now you're mad that someone else saw my worth? Her eyes narrowed. She knew I liked you. I blinked. What? You were supposed to be mine. After everything, I deserved you. It didn't make sense. But in her twisted mind, I was a prize she owned. Not because she wanted me, but because I wanted her. And now that I didn't anymore, she couldn't stand it. I left without saying another word. Mia and I went low-key for a while. No more posts, no public appearances. We focused on work, on each other. Tried to live normally. But living in fear isn't living. And Eliza wasn't done. She showed up at Mia's workplace again. This time, pretending to be a recruiter. Dropped off a fake business card. Asked questions. Smiled like nothing was wrong. Security escorted her out. But the damage was done. Mia was shaken. That night, we sat on the couch in silence. I don't want to lose you, she said, tears brimming. You won't, I whispered. But we need to fight back. We started collecting everything. Every message, every email, every fake profile. We kept logs, got a lawyer involved. I reached out to a cybersecurity friend who helped us trace the IPs. Most led back to burner phones and VPNs. But one slip-up, an email from a Starbucks Wi-Fi, gave us an address near Eliza's apartment. That was enough. We filed for a restraining order. Eliza was served 2 weeks later. She didn't fight it, just smirked when she saw me in court. "You think this ends me?" she whispered as she walked past. I didn't respond, because I knew the truth. This wasn't about ending anyone. This was about protecting the life I built, the love I found. Mia and I weren't perfect, but we were real, and we weren't letting the past win. After the court hearing, you'd think things would have cooled off. But that's the thing about people like Eliza. They don't take no well. They don't back down when their ego's bruised. And she wasn't going to disappear quietly. The day after the restraining order was issued, Mia got flowers delivered to her office. No note, just a single white rose. White roses used to be Eliza's thing. She once told Mia it symbolized purity and control. Creepy. But that was just the start. For weeks, it felt like we were under surveillance. Nothing blatant, no more in-person encounters or threats. But weird things started happening. One day, our neighbor asked if we were moving. Apparently, a woman had knocked on their door pretending to be our property manager, asking about our lease. Another day, I noticed our trash had been tampered with. Bags slid open like someone was searching for something. Emails started showing up from services I didn't subscribe to. My credit card got flagged for suspicious activity. Someone had tried to change the password on Mia's work email. We couldn't prove it was Eliza, but we knew. It was psychological warfare, and it was working. Mia became quieter, more anxious. She jumped when the phone rang. She barely slept. She stopped smiling. We started couples therapy. Not because our relationship was broken, but because we were under siege. Our therapist, Dr. Lang, was incredible. Calm, logical, grounded. "You're not crazy," she told us. "You're being harassed, and the best way to survive is to build stronger walls between you and the storm." So we built those walls. We got security cameras, changed all our passwords, installed two-factor on everything, bought a shredder, limited what we posted online, updated privacy settings, created a safe word to use when we felt overwhelmed. It felt excessive, but it was necessary. And through it all, something beautiful happened. Mia and I became unshakable. We communicated more. We leaned on each other. We cried, we laughed, we rebuilt. I remember one night in particular, Mia was curled up on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, sipping tea. "I used to think love was easy," she said. "Butterflies, flowers, holding hands. But I think real love is this, showing up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." That night, I proposed. No fancy dinner, no ring hidden in dessert. Just me, her, and the truth. "Will you marry me?" I asked. "No matter what Eliza throws our way?" She smiled, eyes wet, voice steady. Yes. We didn't announce it online. Didn't post a single photo. We told our families, our closest friends. We planned a small ceremony 6 months out. Nothing fancy, just love, vows, and people who supported us. But Eliza found out anyway. One of Mia's former classmates posted something vague. "Can't wait for the wedding. You two deserve all the happiness." And that was enough. 3 days later, Mia got a letter in the mail. No return address. Typed, "I warned you, he was never yours." Inside was a photo of me and Eliza from high school, taken without my knowledge. She was smiling. I was looking away. But the implication was clear. This was proof we had a history. It was pathetic, but terrifying. Our lawyer told us to keep it. Add it to the evidence file. "This isn't over," he said. "She's escalating." And he was right. A week before the wedding, we got a call from the venue. "Hi, we had someone call pretending to be Mia. They tried to cancel the booking, said it was a family emergency." We clarified everything. Put passwords on all vendors. Let everyone know about the restraining order. But the damage was already in our heads. We couldn't sleep. We kept thinking, what if she shows up? What if she ruins it? What if she makes a scene? But we weren't going to postpone. We weren't going to hide. We deserved this. The day of the wedding came. Sunny skies. A small garden filled with chairs, flowers, friends. I stood at the altar, hands shaking, but not from fear. From gratitude. Because despite everything, Mia walked down that aisle. Beautiful, brave, beaming. And when we said our vows, there wasn't a single dry eye in the crowd. I don't promise you a life without problems, I said. But I promise you a life where we face them together, no matter who tries to tear us down. She smiled through tears. And we sealed it with a kiss. Eliza didn't show up. Maybe she finally realized she'd lost. Maybe someone close to her convinced her to stop. Or maybe, deep down, she knew nothing she did could break what Mia and I had. We spent our honeymoon in a quiet cabin in the mountains. No cell service, no internet. Just us. We hiked, read books, made pancakes, talked about the future. We even joked about writing a book one day. Title it, How to Survive Your Psycho Ex, Mia laughed. Subtitle, And Still Have the Wedding of Your Dreams. We laughed until we cried. Because we knew we made it. And no one, not even Eliza, could take that away from us. After the honeymoon, things finally felt normal. It's strange how powerful peace can feel when you've lived through chaos. Even the simplest things, cooking breakfast together, watching a dumb rom-com, folding laundry, suddenly felt like precious gems. For the first time in months, we could breathe. Sleep peacefully. Laugh without looking over our shoulders. Mia started journaling again. I picked up my sketchbook. We even joined a community book club. But peace is delicate. And sometimes silence isn't safety. It's buildup. We didn't hear from Eliza for nearly 3 months. Not a single text, no fake accounts, no phone calls. We let ourselves believe it was over. We let our guards down. And that's when she struck again. It started with a story going viral on Reddit. The post was titled, He Cheated with Her Best Friend and Married Her, a real-life soap opera. Anonymous account. A dramatic story. A few facts twisted. A few straight-up lies. But enough detail that people recognized us. Photos that looked real but were clearly edited were attached. Ones that painted Mia as a manipulative homewrecker and me as a creepy stalker who schemed his way into her life to get revenge on Eliza. At first, we thought it was a troll. Until people started sharing it. It hit Twitter, TikTok. A podcast even picked it up. We were trending for all the wrong reasons. Emails came flooding in. Strangers calling us disgusting. Journalists asking for interviews. Old acquaintances tagging us with a popcorn emoji. We were both called names I don't want to repeat. Even some of Mia's extended family started asking questions. Is it true? Why didn't you tell us about the cheating? The most painful part? Watching Mia break. I worked so hard to build my life, she whispered one night, and she's tearing it apart one click at a time. This wasn't just harassment anymore. It was defamation. We went back to our lawyer. This time, he brought in a digital forensic expert. They tracked the post back to a burner IP, but they also noticed something interesting. The post was submitted on a weekday at the same time Eliza's LinkedIn showed she was active on her job account. Circumstantial? Maybe. But enough to request a subpoena for digital records. Meanwhile, we took action. We made a public statement. Short, clear, professional. We are aware of false and defamatory statements being shared online. Legal action is being pursued. We appreciate the support of those who know the truth. It helped a little, but the damage was done. We took a weekend away, off-grid again. No phones, just woods and sky. That's where we had the hard conversation. What if she never stops? Mia asked. I stared at the fire. Then we keep living, loudly, happily, and we don't let her win. It sounded brave, but inside, I was tired. Tired of fighting shadows? Tired of watching Mia suffer? Tired of always bracing for the next strike? But I couldn't let it show. Because if Mia could keep going, so could I. Back home, things slowly calmed again. The Reddit post was taken down. The podcast deleted the episode. Social media moved on, like it always does. We returned to work, to life. And then something unexpected happened. We got a letter. Not from Eliza, from her father. It was handwritten. 3 pages. He apologized. Said he had no idea the extent of what his daughter was doing. Said Eliza had been struggling mentally since college. That he was trying to get her help. Please don't let her destroy the goodness you found, he wrote. Some people only find meaning in misery. Don't give her that power. We were stunned. Not because it excused her behavior. It didn't. But it reminded us Eliza was still human. Broken, angry, possibly sick. But human. And we couldn't let her brokenness break us. So we kept living. We hosted dinner parties. Took dance classes. Adopted a cat. Started planning a family. And most importantly, we healed. Not in one big moment, but in thousands of tiny ones. In forehead kisses. In quiet nights. In choosing each other again and again. Because love isn't just the wedding. It's what comes after. And we chose to write a story where the villain doesn't win. By the time spring rolled around, it felt like we had finally climbed out of the chaos. Mia's smile came back. I could focus on work without checking my phone every 5 minutes. The world felt bright again. But deep down, I was still waiting for the other shoe to drop. When you've been hurt enough times, peace starts to feel like a setup. Then came the subpoena results. Our lawyer called us in. His voice was tight, focused. She used her work email, he said, to sign up for the Reddit post, to send the podcast their anonymous tip, even attached photos stored on her office drive. We have everything. I just sat there, stunned. She really thought she was untouchable, Mia whispered. Well, our lawyer said, sliding a folder across the table, now she's not. We had 2 choices, press charges or file a civil suit. Criminal charges meant a longer process, possible public exposure, and the chance she might face real legal consequences. A civil suit would be faster, less dramatic, but still damaging to her career and finances. We talked it over, long and hard. Then we made our decision. We filed both. We weren't doing it for revenge. We were doing it for closure. The news hit her like a storm. Her employer was notified. She was suspended pending internal investigation. A former coworker messaged us anonymously. She lost it, they said. Screaming, said you ruined her life. No, Eliza. You ruined your own life. We just stopped letting you ruin ours. She sent one final email. Short. Cold. You win. I hope it was worth it. We didn't reply. Because it wasn't about winning. It was about surviving. The court process was long, painful, public. We had to relive every message, every photo, every threat. Mia cried through most of her testimony. I held her hand the whole time. But we made it through. The judge granted a permanent restraining order. Eliza was fined, required to attend counseling, lost her job, her reputation shattered. And then, silence. Not the tense kind, the peaceful kind. The kind where birds chirp and dinner burns because you're too busy dancing in the kitchen. The kind where scars fade and laughter fills the spaces they used to live in. We moved cities. Started over. New apartment. New routines. New friends. Not because we were running away, but because we deserved a clean page. And in that new city, something beautiful happened. Mia found out she was pregnant. I remember the day she told me, hands shaking, eyes wide with joy and fear. "We're going to be parents," she whispered. I cried. Not because I was scared, but because I knew we had made it to the other side. Parenthood changed everything. The late nights, the diaper explosions, the first laugh, the first steps, the first time she said Dada. We named her Hope, because that's what she was. Proof that love can grow even after fire. Proof that what's meant for you can survive anything. Proof that healing is messy, but worth it. Hope changed everything. Not just because we became parents, but because we became something else too. Free. Raising a child strips you bare. It makes you rethink every word you say, every habit you carry, every fear you feed. I wasn't just someone's husband anymore. I was someone's dad. And I wanted to raise our daughter with love, not fear. Mia embraced motherhood with grace I didn't know was possible. Even in the chaos of 3 a.m. feedings and diaper disasters, she never once complained. We took turns. We laughed at the mess. We cried from exhaustion. We clung to every tiny victory. Our daughter was growing. And so were we. Sometimes I'd catch Mia just staring at Hope, brushing her tiny hair back, eyes glassy. "You okay?" I'd ask. I never thought I'd feel this safe," she'd whisper. And I'd hold her because I knew exactly what she meant. For years, safety felt like something we had to fight for. Now it lived in our home, in the rhythm of bedtime lullabies, the creak of the rocking chair, the warmth of our shared silence. It was fragile, precious. And one morning, a package arrived. No name, no return address. Inside was a leather-bound journal. On the first page, "To Liam and Mia, I'm sorry." It was Eliza's handwriting. We froze. Mia wanted to throw it away. I almost agreed, but curiosity won. We opened it. It wasn't just an apology. It was a confession. Dozens of pages. Every lie. Every message. Every manipulation. She detailed her reasons: jealousy, loneliness, fear of being forgotten. "I wasn't angry that you moved on," she wrote. "I was angry that I didn't. I thought hurting you would make me feel powerful again." It was raw, painful, honest. She ended it with a simple line: "I'm letting go now. I hope you can too." We didn't know what to do. Should we report it? Was it bait? Was it real? In the end, we didn't do anything. Because for the first time, it didn't matter. She had no power over us anymore. We stored the journal in a drawer we never opened. Not out of fear, out of compassion. Because sometimes letting go means not needing the last word. Years passed. Hope started school. We moved into a house with a garden. I started mentoring young professionals. Mia opened a small creative studio. We lived. We lived loudly, quietly, joyfully. Some nights, Mia and I sit under the stars after Hope's in bed. "Can you believe how far we've come?" she asks. And I smile, because yes, I can. We were two people caught in someone else's storm. But we built our own sky. One with no drama, no fear, just love. Peace, we learned, isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose. And we chose it every single day. If this story moved you, please don't forget to give it a like. And if you love emotional, powerful stories like this one, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, please.